in Duch's house. Those are the paragraphs under the heading Duch's role in arrest that I would like the defense to confirm are agreed upon.
We confirm, Your Honor, the agreement of the accused concerning the paragraphs that were just read out by the co-prosecutor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under the heading Arrest of S-21 personnel, the following facts are agreed. Paragraph 129. S-21 personnel were arrested and either sent to Presar for re-education or detained at Tuol Sleng. Paragraph 136. Duch was the only person at S-21 who could report mistakes by S-21 personnel to the upper level, and he did so whenever a report came to him from X. Those are the agreed facts under the arrest of S-21 personnel heading that I'd like the defense to.
The floor is yours, the defense counsel, say the President.
Nous confirmons la...
We confirm the agreement of the accused concerning the paragraphs that were read concerning the arrest of the S-21 personnel.
The co-prosecutor, you can continue, say the President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under the heading Conditions of Detention at Tuol Sleng, the following facts are agreed. Paragraph 138. Prisoners entered S-21 on nearly a daily basis. Agreed. Paragraph 140. Prisoners were registered and lists of their names were compiled by S-21 cadre X. Agreed. Paragraph 141. Prisoners were required to provide information regarding their biographies, which was then summarized. Agreed. Paragraph 142. Photographs were taken of newly arrived prisoners, which generally included a number and sometimes their name and date of arrest. These photos were taken on instruction from Son Sen to aid in the recapture of any escapees. Agreed. Paragraph 143. Persons who were arrested and imprisoned at S-21 were usually not informed of the reason for their arrest. Agreed. Paragraph 144. Prisoners at S-21 were kept in restraints nearly 24 hours a day. Agreed. Paragraph 145. The S-21 detention facility had both small individual cells and larger collective cells where prisoners were chained side by side with their legs shackled. Agreed. Paragraph 146. Prisoners who were shackled could not stand up. Agreed. Paragraph 147. Female prisoners generally remained unshackled unless they created problems. Agreed. Paragraph 148. Prisoners at S-21 were kept under permanent guard. Guards from both inside and outside the detention facilities were instructed to be vigilant in preventing escape attempts. Agreed. Paragraph 152. Prisoners were not permitted to exercise or leave their cells. Agreed. Paragraph 159. S-21 detainees only received starvation rations of food. As a result, many suffered substantial weight loss and physical deterioration, and some died. Agreed. Paragraph 160. Starvation of prisoners was a deliberate policy of the CPK. Paragraph 161. S-21 guards and important prisoners received better nutrition than ordinary prisoners. Agreed. Paragraph 162. Many detainees at S-21 suffered from illnesses or injuries. Agreed. Paragraph 166. Medicine was in very short supply at S-21. Even when available, the medicine was locally produced by unskilled workers. Agreed. Paragraph 167. S-21 medics understood that the purpose of medical treatment for prisoners was to keep them alive long enough that their interrogations could be completed. Agreed. Paragraph 168. S-21 personnel performed medical experimentations on prisoners. Agreed. Paragraph 168A. Research for poisons was carried out upon the orders of the Central Committee provided to Duch by Nuon Chea. Agreed. Paragraph 168B. Autopsies were practiced on living persons. Agreed. Paragraph 168C. Blood was taken from prisoners. Agreed. Paragraph 168D. New medicines were tested on prisoners. Agreed. Paragraph 169. The conditions at S-21 severely impaired the physical and psychological health of many of the detainees and, in many instances, caused their death. Agreed. Paragraph 171. Some prisoners at S-21 attempted to commit suicide. The following facts under the heading Conditions of Detention at Tuol Sleng are not contested. Paragraph 139. Prisoners were generally blindfolded and handcuffed when brought inside S-21. Paragraph 150.
Mon collègue, nous avons eu un petit problème.
We had a slight translation problem, and it was translated that the following paragraphs were the object of an agreement, but they are just simply not disputed. It's just a small point that I would like to specify for the purposes of translation. So, I apologize. You may continue.
The President, the trial chamber may take a 20 minutes break because I can see that the co-prosecutor is tired already, so please take a 20 minutes break.
Grafia, please be seated. The President, the trial chamber is now back in session. May the co-prosecutor read the statement read the document again.
And I am feeling much better. Thank you. I would like first to correct an omission on my part. In the agreed facts of, under the heading Conditions of Detention at 12 Slang, paragraph 160 is admitted. Starvation of prisoners was a deliberate policy of the CPK. Thank you. I continue. Under the heading of Conditions of Detention at 12 Slang, the following facts are not disputed. Paragraph 139. Prisoners were generally blindfolded and handcuffed when brought inside S21. Paragraph 150. Prisoners at S21 were not permitted to speak to each other or to the guards. Paragraph 151. When prisoners first arrive at S21, they were often stripped of their clothes, leaving just their underwear. Paragraph 153. The majority of S21 detainees were provided no bedding and slept on the concrete floor. A few privileged prisoners were provided old mats or mattresses to sleep on. Paragraph 154. Many detainees were badly bitten by mosquitoes. Paragraph 156. There were no washing facilities at S21. Prisoners remained shackled when bathed. Bathing consisted of guards spraying the cell with a hose from the doorway. The primary purpose of this hosing was to clean the cells, not the prisoners. Paragraph 157. Prisoners were not permitted to leave their cells to use the toilet and were forced to urinate in jerry cans and defecate in ammunition boxes. Paragraph 158. Prisoners were typically fed twice a day with poor quality gruel. Paragraph 163. Medical services at S21 were provided by a team of 3 to 5 medics who had not studied medicine. Some of those medics were children, and they worked without the supervision of medical doctors. Paragraph 164. Some prisoners received intravenous fluids in the evening and were found dead the following morning. Paragraph 165. In need of urgent medical attention were left unattended or given insufficient treatment. Paragraph 170. During 1 month, 8 or 9 prisoners died in X cell. X's cell. Those are the relevant facts agreed to or not contested under the heading Conditions of Detention at 12 Slang that I would request the defense to confirm.
So, the President, please, the Counsel for Defense, the floor is yours.
Merci.
Mr. Ho, thank you. The defense agrees to the previously agreed matters and the undisputed matters in regard to the paragraphs that have just been read out concerning the detention conditions in Tuol Sleng. Thank you.
The President, the co-prosecutor may continue.
Mr. President. Under the heading Detention Conditions at Presar, the following facts are not contested. Paragraph 172. At S24, people were sent for re-education through punitive hard labor, also referred to as tempering. Paragraph 174. Persons sent to S24 were strictly guarded both at work and at night. Paragraph 175. Persons sent to Presar were separated into 3 levels, one for light tempering, a second intermediate level, and a third level for the most serious cases. Paragraph 176. Persons considered to be level 3 were kept shackled at night and were not permitted to live in ordinary houses. Paragraph 177. Detainees were provided 2 meals a day, one at noon and one in the evening. With few exceptions, the food provided to prisoners at Presar was insufficient. Persons in level 3 received lower rations than others. Paragraph 179. Detainees at S24, including women and children, were forced to work in the rice fields, fish, grow vegetables, transplant rice, build paddy dikes, dig canals, and carry soil to make ponds. Paragraph 180. Detainees worked day and night, 7 days a week, and were not permitted to rest during working hours. A typical working day at Presar started at dawn, between 4 and 7 a.m., and finished between 10 p.m. and 12 midnight, with 2 hours to rest and eat. Paragraph 181. Work was carried out under the supervision of guards who required detainees to be efficient and berated them if they worked slowly. Paragraph 182. When detainees were sick or late, or when their work was considered unsatisfactory, they were beaten and insulted. Paragraph 183. Prisoners were also punished for, quote, sexual misconduct, illnesses, and stealing, unquote. Paragraph 184. Inmate X was beaten 2 or 3 times. Paragraph 185. On some occasions, guards at S24 punished detainees by starvation. Paragraph 186. Prisoners feared that if they did not work as hard as they could, they would end up dead. Paragraph 187. Regular re-education meetings were held at Presar, at which detainees were instructed to work quickly and efficiently, given political training and indoctrination, and required to partake in self-criticism sessions where they were forced to concede their faults and those of others. Paragraph 188. Disappearances of prisoners during the night were common, and the persons taken away never returned. Paragraph 189. Some Presar detainees, most likely people from level 3, were transferred to Duch for execution. Paragraph 190. At least 571 persons, including both S24 personnel and inmates, were transferred from S24 to Tuol Sleng. Those are the uncontested facts under the heading Detention Conditions at Presar, to which I would request the defense to confirm.
The President, please, the defense lawyer response.
Mr. Aho, thank you, Mr. President. The defense confirms that it does not dispute any of the paragraphs read by the co-prosecutor as far as the detention conditions in Presar are concerned.
The President, the co-prosecutor may continue.
Mr. President. Under the heading Interrogation, the following facts are agreed to. Paragraph 191. The majority of prisoners detained at S21 were systematically interrogated. Paragraph 192. Interrogations were conducted by S21 personnel who were organized by Duch in various teams. Paragraph 193. Agreed. Paragraph 193. Interrogators did not choose the prisoners they would question, but rather were assigned those prisoners. Agreed. Paragraph 195. In interrogation rooms, prisoners would typically have their legs shackled to a table, after which their handcuffs were removed to allow questioning and confession writing. Agreed. Paragraph 196. Interrogators questioned prisoners on their biographies and on the activities which led to their arrest. Agreed. Paragraph 197. Not all interrogations led to a written confession. Agreed. Paragraph 199. There were no established limits on the number of times a prisoner could be interrogated or how long an interrogation could last. Agreed. Paragraph 199A. Interrogations only ended when the confession of the prisoners was considered completed. Agreed. Paragraph 199B. Prisoners could be interrogated repeatedly and forced to redraft their confessions numerous times. Agreed. Paragraph 201. Duch introduced 3 methods of interrogation at S21. The, quote, cold, hot, and chewing methods. Agreed. Paragraph 201A. Correction. The cold method was interrogation through the use of propaganda without relying on torture or insults. The following factual allegation is not contested under the heading interrogation. Paragraph 198. Interrogations took place every day from 7 to 11 a.m., from 2 to 5 p.m., and then from 7 to 11 p.m. Those are the factual allegations agreed to or not contested under the heading interrogation, to which I'd like the defense to confirm.
The President, the defense counsel may respond.
Mr. Hu, the defense confirms that agreement has been reached or there is no dispute with regard to the paragraphs that the co-prosecutor has just read concerning the questioning in S21.
The President, the co-prosecutor may continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under the heading systematic use of torture during interrogations, the following facts are agreed. Paragraph 204. 3 notebooks belonging to S21 interrogation, the, quote, statistical list of Security Office S21, politics, ideology, and organization, unquote, the, quote, the X notebook, unquote, attributed to X, and, quote, the Y notebook, quote, recorded instructions received regarding interrogation and torture at S21. Agreed. Paragraph 204A. The statistical list included political and interrogation instructions taught to interrogators, such as to, quote, break prisoner by propaganda or break him by torture, unquote, and, quote, if Ankar instructs not to beat, absolutely do not beat. If the party orders us to beat, then we beat with mastery, beat them to talk, not to die, to escape, not to become so weak and feeble that they fall ill and we lose them, unquote. Agreed. Paragraph 204B. The instructions and political ideologies contained in the X notebook and in the statistical list accurately reflected Duch's teachings and instructions at S21 and were primarily his, quote, thoughts, unquote. Agreed. Paragraph 208. The purpose of interrogation at S21 was to obtain a complete answer which included the prisoner's alleged crimes and identified other purported enemies of the regime. Agreed. Paragraph 209. With respect to Vietnamese prisoners, the purpose behind the interrogation was to obtain confessions showing, quote, that Vietnam had invaded Cambodia with a view to integrating it into an Indo-Chinese federation, unquote. Agreed. Paragraph 211. Unlike Cambodians, the interrogation of Vietnamese prisoners were often tape recorded, and some of their confessions were then broadcast on the radio for propaganda purposes. The following facts, under the heading Systematic Use of Torture During Interrogation, are not contested. Paragraph 205. Physical consequences of torture, i.e. lacerations, bleeding, bruises, unconsciousness, and missing finger or toenails, were visible on the prisoners detained at S21 and noticed by S21 personnel. Paragraph 206. Most of the prisoners detained at S21, quote, had injuries and their faces were swollen and there were burns around their ears from electrical shocks, unquote. Paragraph 207. Certain guards at S21 also personally saw or heard the torture being carried out there. Paragraph 214. One day, in the painter's room, Duch ordered X to exchange blows with a sculptor, Y, by hitting each other with a rubber hose. Under the heading Systematic Use of Torture During Interrogation, those are the paragraphs agreed to are not contested that I would like the defense to confirm.
President, the defense counsel may respond.
Mr. Ahu, thank you, Mr. President.